You're listening to Left Up the Valley 2.0, Atheist, Skeptic, and Humanist Radio.
All right, our next returning champion is John the Godless Engineer, a sensation on YouTube and the bane of flat earthers everywhere. He's a snappy dresser and a Stasi dancer. John, welcome back to the show.
Hi, thank you guys for having me.
No. You gotta do, hey, heathens. You gotta do your business.
Oh, okay. So, what's up, heathens? How y'all doing? Is that what I need to do?
Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like you've done that before.
Yeah.
Totally made my day. John, it's a pleasure to have you back on the show. It's been a while, my friend. How have you been?
I've been pretty good, just grinding it out on YouTube, and I actually got moved into a house, so that's why you see this whole setup behind me now. Yeah, it's going great, like I said, just grinding it out.
Yeah, you moved from that cardboard box, and now you're in an actual house. That's fantastic, man. I really
for
you. For those of us that may not have been present the first time you came around to Left of the Valley, maybe you'll be so kind to give us a quick bio as to who John the Godless Engineer is.
Yeah, so I'm a YouTube creator, and I have multiple social media platforms or whatnot that I'm on. Mostly YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, that kind of stuff. Not really so much on Facebook these days, but I've also got a TikTok now that I post on occasionally. If anybody does the TikToks,
I do.
But I cover a lot of intersection between like history, religion, and like politics and religion, science and like pretty much anywhere religion intersects, our lives. I try to cover on my channel, and I have a few things on my channel that I really like to harp on, and one of those is history, but the other one is also sort of responding to misconceptions about atheists and atheism in general. So if you're looking for that kind of content, then I'm probably right up your alley.
Yeah, and John, you're an actual engineer and probably one of the nicest guys I know. John is every time I ask John a favor and something like that, he just answers with a yes. So you gotta love the guy. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm an actual engineer. I have 2 engineering degrees. I got a bachelor's in computer engineering, and then I got a master's in software engineering.
Damn, wow. Okay, so I got a computer problem with my Windows 10. Maybe I'm just kidding.
No.
I was gonna say I'm a software engineer, not a tech specialist.
There's a difference.
I don't know. You
Okay, so I need a program.
Yeah.
There we go.
Give us a quick genesis on how did you start this whole Godless Engineer YouTube sensation there? How did you begin all that? What was the inspiration of it?
Well, so how it really all began goes back to 2012, and because that's when I graduated with my master's in software engineering, and pretty much after high school and up until that point, like I was purely just focused on like school and work, and because of that, I didn't really have a lot of time for much of anything else. And once I graduated with my master's, I wasn't planning on doing a PhD because that wasn't going to help me like career wise. Like it would have been nice for the where I worked at, like they could just count one more doctor, in their organization, but it wasn't gonna advance me really in my career. So I decided not to do a doctorate, at least immediately, and I just started working. And the issue, I guess, with that was that I had a lot of spare time on my hand, and so I just kind of started posting on like Facebook and places like that. This sort of new view on things that I had because I had realized that I was an atheist just maybe like a couple years or so before this point, and so with all this extra time on my hand, and I was posting things just as myself, it started really making my relatives mad and other people that I knew. you know. And so I was like, well, I'll just create a Facebook page and I will, you know, I'll post under that so that, you know, only people that will interact with me through that, I guess, persona or that outlet would really know what I'm saying. So it kind of separates it from my family members and everything like that. And so what I did was I sat there and I tried to figure out, well, you know, what do I want to call, you know, this page? And you know, I didn't want to just be like another atheist, you know, whatever, like atheist engineer or whatever kind of thing like that. And so I'm like, well, godless engineer. And a lot of people like to kind of make fun of it, like as if I'm proposing some kind of new engineering uh field or something like that. But it's really just, it's very personal to me, because like the two kind of the important things that were happening to me at that point was me expressing this new worldview that I had, and that was important, and really kind of finding my way around that conversation. And then there was also being an engineer, because you know I'd worked for the past 9 to 10 years. Going to school for engineering degrees, and so that was a pretty big part of my life. And so I was like, Godless Engineer, that makes sense. And you know, the name was free on Facebook. I'm like, perfect. And so I did that. I started creating like images to share on Facebook and everything like that. And I started getting noticed more and more. Bigger pages would notice me, and a couple of them wanted me to come on and make like memes for them and everything like that. So I mean, I just kind of gradually progressed that direction. And then one day on the page, I was in an argument on my page with somebody, and they were like, "It's easy to say this, you know, behind an avatar on Facebook. You know, nobody knows, you know, you're saying this." And you know, I had watched a few content creators on YouTube before. I'm like, I can do this. Like, I don't have any problem like putting myself out there like that. And so I made a few response videos to things, and I mean, you know, they did all right, I guess. But they were looking back on them now, they were pretty cringy. But
It's always like that.
yeah.
You know?
And so I mean, that's kind of how the whole thing kind of got started, was just, you know, wanting to kind of take it, I guess, to I say the next level, but just sort of like a different place, you know, doing like activism in the atheist sphere and everything like that. So that's where the GE YouTube page started. And one of the first big things I got noticed for was there was this Tennessee pastor who had a whole sermon on how we should still be segregating the races and stuff, and he linked it to scripture and everything. And so I was able to get the actual footage from their website. I downloaded it, and I just picked out I think it was like maybe a 20-minute spot where he was going on about it, and I put it on my channel, and it got picked up a lot of places. Like Raw Story picked it up, Hemet Meta on the Friendly Atheist, he picked it up, and so it was it got a lot of notoriety. And that actually, but they eventually copyright claimed the video and had it taken down. And so I couldn't do anything on the channel for like 6 months.
Damn.
And then after that 6 months was up, I decided, like, well, you know, I want to start making, you know, response videos, because I really like doing that. And so that's just kind of how I got the ball rolling on doing the YouTube content and stuff. And now we're kind of here.
You know, it's very interesting because in a way, the way that you're responding to these videos could almost be described as this fictional godless engineering that you're don't actually exist, but you're actually kind of creating it in a way. You know, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And your videos are quite helpful too. I just actually the other day I was doing this. I found Eric Hovind. He did a breakdown of, like, and he said this will blow every atheist's mind, you know. And I went through, and he had some part about the population, and just I was trying to like figure it out, like as a reaction, like it wasn't a response, because this was just me reacting to it. But at the moment, I was like, I know this is wrong. I just don't know why. Like, I just can't really, break it down. But yeah, and immediately after I found your video, I think it came out like a couple hours after I had finished. I was like, oh, there it is. It broke down exactly. It's very helpful. Very helpful.
Yeah, I try to bring some information like on top of trying to also present some entertainment in it. And so that typically a lot of people blow right past the educational part and they just focus on like the entertainment part of it. But I do there's a couple genres of video, or not genres but subjects for videos that I spend a lot of time like researching. Creationism is one of them, and then of course the historicity of Christianity. That's another one where I spend a great amount of time like researching and really considering the reasons why they're wrong about what they're saying.
Right.
Yeah, I guess that was my next question, but I guess you kind of answered it. Which topic actually you dive in the most? But let's go to a different one. They say serious people have serious enemies, and you're serious enough to have some pretty interesting people trying to come after you, John. Which one that really gets into your craw? One of these theists that really kind of tries to come at you. Which one? Which one would be?
There's a lot of them out there that just really don't like me, and they get. I've noticed that religious people, especially the very fundamentalist ones, they go zero to childish like super quick, and there's a few people. I've actually had someone do up a thumbnail that is where it was me and Matt Dillahunty doing a call-in show, and they dressed both Matt Dillahunty and myself up like we were women. And I don't really care about that part, that doesn't bother me. But what the one thing that I thought was hilarious about it was that apparently I'm just not fat enough for them. So what they did was they took my face and they blew it up to where I'm about 5 times bigger than I actually am, and then they dressed me up like a woman, and they're meaning this to be derogatory, but I'm just sitting there like, this is hilarious because I don't take offense to any of that. It's hilarious because of the fact that these are supposed to be like the people that are on the morally good side, right? They're supposed to be the bastions of morality, and supposedly you can't be an atheist and be a moral person and all this other stuff. And then here they are like being misogynistic and being very just hateful in general. And so it's kind of like that irony really that's funny. But the person I'm talking about, one is called Praise I Am. He's kind of a fundamentalist Christian on here. That person kind of gets me. And then from a more condescending type of position, people like Inspiring Philosophy, I guess, are kind of the ones that really grate on me because the smugness that they have to their videos, especially when they're referencing me, kind of grates on me a little bit.
It's ironic, but I mean, don't worry about the whole calling you fat thing, because apparently I'm the fat one on the show too. So I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yes.
And when somebody calls himself Praise I Am, that sounds like a really bad Christian version of Dr. Seuss. So I wouldn't really worry about it.
Either that or they're trying to do Yoda.
Right. Have you had a whack an atheist yet? Has he gotten to you yet?
Oh no, Kent Hovind. I don't think that he'll touch me on whack an atheist, and that's primarily because I've the last interaction that I had with him came about this wonderful meme about whale penises, and so that's been a major focus on my channel, like as far as like just a general sort of a tangential meme that just sort of runs through all of the live streams and everything like that. And for those of you that maybe not know this particular meme on my channel or haven't heard of this. So I was in a debate with Kent Hovind, and I don't take Kent Hovind seriously, for one, and for two, I didn't even like. I'm known on my channel for being a bit provocative when it comes to like, I guess how I describe prayer and filleting Jesus and things of that nature. And I'm not scared to talk about those particular topics. And one of the reasons why I do that is because it does make some of the more fundamentalist Christians, I guess, wince, or it makes them uncomfortable a little bit. So it's just kind of, I guess, maybe a bit of a shock factor kind of comedy. But yeah. Anyways, so I'm known for that, but I did not bring up anything penile related in the debate. All right, I'm sitting there having a serious debate with him. I'm bringing up information and facts and how he's wrong and arguing against what he's saying. But Kent Hovind really only cares about evolution. He cares about whether or not the flood happened, which is what the debate was on. But what his bread and butter really is evolution and trying to debunk that. And so during the debate, he wanted to get into evolution. And so we started talking about evolution. And I mentioned whale evolution as evidence of this change in kind.
Yes.
That they are always talking about, right? Because it's a land mammal that migrated, into the ocean and turned into a whale, losing its hind legs, gaining flippers, and all this other stuff, but still remaining, mammals and all that other kind of stuff.
They still have hip bones.
Huh?
They still have hip bones.
Hip
Right.
bone.
Oh,
Yeah.
hip bones.
Exactly.
Bones. Yeah.
I brought
said
that up.
hippos, and that threw me
I
off.
know.
Oh, they might have hippos too. But they're
Hippopotamus.
bones.
So
Hip
anyways,
bones.
I bring that up in the debate, and I'm sitting there and I'm talking about how they have these vestigial limbs, which show that they once had hind legs, but they have since went away because they don't need hind legs. They just have the flipper or the tail in the water, so they don't need the hind legs, and so they've evolved out of that particular group of organisms, and out of nowhere, Kent Hovind is like, "What do you mean it's vestigial? Whales have a 15-foot penis that they've got to maneuver in the water, and so they need that in order to guide it whenever they have sex." And I'm just sitting there like, okay. Well, so I immediately I knew what I had to do. Okay, right.
Get a marine biologist.
No. So immediately I was like, "I'm sorry, Kent. A 15-foot what? I couldn't hear you." And because I was trying to get him to say, like, I was going to see how many times could I get him to say penis in this debate. And, he only said it the one time because he caught on quick, and he's just like, "Oh, I see what you're doing. Are you a pervert or something?" And
Of course.
You're like, I'm not the one who brought up penises.
right.
I'm not the one thinking about whale.
Right.
sex.
You're like, I don't know. I'm feeling kind of bored. How do whales bang? Okay.
Right. Jesus.
I always thought that Kent Hovind was a bit of a dick anyway. So,
Dude, I was actually taught his stuff in my homeschooling group. They made us watch his videos and then take notes and had to like take tests based on it and everything. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh man, I'm
how
sorry
many-
about that.
How much stuff about whale biology did they have you take?
Right?
None? I'm guessing none.
Yeah, no, I don't remember that. Well, I do remember it being like they said that it was closer to the surface because it was a big animal that was able to fight its way to the surface, and that's why all the bigger animals are close. I don't know. It was some
they
argument that they
do know that sperm whales are some of the whales that go the deepest, right?
yeah.
I mean, you're expecting them to know scientific facts here, and I just don't think that.
Yeah,
I think
I
we
can tell
could
you
rank
about
Kent
Jesus,
Hovind
though.
is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, so that particular instance on that debate is, I think, the reason why he probably won't mention me like in a Whack the Atheist or anything like that. Either he feels like he's already whacked me off enough, or
That was my next joke, damn it.
Maybe either that, or maybe he just doesn't want to give me the time of day because I make him say penis. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, I don't think that he'll ever whack me off on his live stream.
Next time you see Ken Hovind, you should ask, since you're so obsessed with penises, maybe you should ask you how big was Jesus' penis, because he's God after all. He had to get himself a big schlong.
Kevin, everyone knows that Jesus was hung.
Well, yeah. He was.
Jesus. Oh my God.
He had a lot of wood, that's for sure.
As I've said this before, Jesus was hung, but he liked to get nailed. So it's always a shame when someone is hung as a bottom. So
what a waste,
What a waste.
Oh my Lord.
All right. So anyway, trying to get
Let's go back on track here.
Poor Johnny's already regretting the decision to come on the show.
No, not at all. I love hanging out with y'all.
John, of all the topics you've discussed on the show, and you've discussed a lot of topics, I really enjoy your videos. Which one's the topic that really, gets to you to say, I can't believe I have to do another video about this stupid topic or anything like that? Is there one particular topic that really gets to you?
Well, it's got to be, the topics covering like the Kalam cosmological argument and simple arguments for God's existence, kind of like that, like the design argument. That one kind of always grates on me, because what you'll have are these videos that these people put out, and it's like, undeniable proof of God's existence. And I'm like, okay, undeniable proof. I'm ready. And they're like, stuff's really complicated out here, and I just don't understand it. So obviously it means it's got to be God's doing. And I'm just sitting here like, oh, really?
Wow. Yeah.
Undeniable proof. Look at the trees.
Yeah.
Yes.
Question.
That's what I was told.
Has anyone given undeniable evidence of Satan's existence? Because we always talk about God's existence, and I always scream about how Satan exists. Has anyone actually come up with that?
I actually I haven't looked for like proof that Satans and demons exist. It's usually just that like they state it as a fact, and not so much that like there's any kind of direct proof that Satan is real. It's just from what I can tell, and I mean, maybe I'm just not looking at the right keywords on YouTube or whatever, but I mean, they argue for God's existence, and then obviously it's a Christian God, so obviously, the devil exists. And I've actually got a video that's coming out on Monday of this week, which that'll be the 7th of February, where this guy goes over like 4 secrets of the devil, and they're really underwhelming, like secrets.
I was gonna say that's right up my alley.
Right. What about that documentary? It's The Exorcist. You've seen that one, right?
Yeah.
That's good evidence right there.
4 secrets of the devil. He really likes whipped cream.
Yeah.
And pea soup.
And we get bored.
Secrets of the devil. He's not so good at violin.
Which I don't know if you guys have ever really watched any of the Exorcist type videos that are out there, like on YouTube, but like there's one guy, Bob Larson, who supposedly does a whole bunch of exorcisms and stuff. But the Exorcist videos where they're supposedly exorcising demons, those are actually really hilarious, because you can tell that the people are acting like they're not possessed by demons. They're just bad actors. And
like the one, the guy is being exorcised and he gets a phone call in the middle of the exorcism, starts answering his phone.
Oh, no, that's hilarious. But I'm talking about the people that are supposedly like being possessed by a demon right there, and you got somebody that's doing an exorcism, and so they just like they yell out weird things, and they change their voice and everything like that, and they act like they're actually possessed, and I don't know. It's I find it hilarious, because it's like, I really don't think that's how the demon would possess somebody, but that's how they think it would happen.
I'm glad they were acting, because for a second there I thought they were going to just be abusing some mentally ill person, somebody going through an episode,
I would say there's probably a fair amount of that in some of those places.
Yeah.
Because Barb Larson actually has a thing where he would go from town to town and get rent out like a hotel conference room and stuff.
So
Patreon goal, we put some money aside and we get John to go to Bob Larson and pretend he's possessed.
I get to go
more
in.
realistic,
I totally get to go in.
I'm totally behind.
I want to see
will
Satan
pay
possession.
good money to see that.
Look, look here though. So
I'm
like,
just. Oh,
go ahead. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. No. So anyway, like demon possession, right? Like the point you make there, right? Like if demons must be really, really, really stupid if they possess someone and all they're doing is just shouting things and being like, rah! Like, shouldn't they be doing stuff like, I don't know, like setting a bridge to explode or something, like some chaos, right? Acting completely normal, like, I'm good. I'm just going to go to the store.
The demons get people to do stuff like masturbate. Or super, super low key stuff. That's what the demons are getting people to do.
Masturbate the whale penis.
Full circle. There we go.
So I have this alter ego on my channel called Brocephus, and that's where I throw on the country accent like really, really thick, and I've got like this whole getup that I wear. It's all the way over there right now, but I've got these Christ glasses that I wear. That's like they're white and they've got white crosses on them, and so it's just like aviators, And so I wear those. If I were to go to a Barb Larson thing, I think I would seamlessly transition into just like a Brocephus demon. But I'm wondering. Like he always attributes the demon possessions to like not Beelzebub, but who is it? The
Baal or something?
No, not Baal. Crap, there's always one demon. It's the woman. Huh?
What's that?
Barack Obama? That's usually the one they blame.
No, that's the Antichrist.
Oh, sorry. You get them all mixed up. Demons, Antichrist, eventually.
Oh.
I think I know.
I can't remember what the demon's name is, but it's always one of two demons that he says it. But I'm just wondering if there's like a cletus demon, because that's it. I would exhibit the cletus demon like hardcore.
That's what you should do. So when he's like, "It's this demon," you're like, "No, it's not." It's this demon, then, and you're like, "No, it's not." Turns out I'm Cletus. Wow.
really gave a guess who the demon is.
Fetus.
You're like, my name is Cletus. Cletus the demon. I'm a Cletus demon. I like drinking Bud Light and four-wheelers.
Cletus sounds like he's like Igor for Omok or whatever, the Marlock or whatever, the owl one.
A couple of Alka-Seltzer in his mouth, he can just start frothing and foaming at the mouth while he's being possessed. That's brilliant. I love it, man. Patreon goal. I love it.
Jesus. Hey, I do want to ask real quick. I'm sorry.
Go for it, man.
I saw you did a debate the other day. It was really good. How often do you do debates? Like, how many? Do people agree to do debates quite often, or is it just here and there?
I mean, I tried to do debates whenever I can get good people to debate, I mean, sometimes it's a bit more frequent than others. Which one did you see just recently? Was it the Street Preacher Joe one?
I think so. It was the one that he said he was an atheist, or he said he was Catholic, and then went to being atheist, and then became a evangelical. That's
right. Yeah.
Like the historicity of Jesus and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that was a little while ago, actually, that I recorded that because it was like right after Trump got elected to president and stuff like that. So I think it was about 2017 or so that I recorded that. So I had originally put that up in segments, and so I just wanted to have the full thing on there. And but I do try to have debates, like, as much as I can, whenever there's a good opportunity, and also the person has to at least somewhat seem like they're there for a good like discussion, like they're an honest interlocutor. And so I try to do it every once in a while.
Yeah.
Would you say that you're now possessed by a demon and you're now a master debater?
Yeah.
Actually, if you go back into the archives, last time John was on the show was the old version of Left of the Valley, the original one, and he did debate historicity of Jesus with a Christian, and he totally killed him too.
That's awesome. That's a tough one because they bring out stuff where you're just like, a lot of times, I'm just like, I don't know exactly the thing that you're referring to. Yeah.
Well, so that's probably one of the topics that I know the most about. So I've yet to be exactly stumped. In the debate or the discussion rather that I had with the Street Preacher Joe guy, I didn't know at that particular time. I didn't know everything that I know now about like crucifixion and that method of like execution and stuff. So I'm better equipped now to handle like that kind of thing. But for the most part, I mean, for historicity debates or discussions, I'm fairly well prepared for just about anything anybody can throw out, but generally in that particular discussion they usually go along only a few routes, and so there's not really a lot of innovation happening like in that area as far as the historicity side goes.
The funny thing to do a parentheses on the historicity, the thing that always got into my craw when I'm debating a Christian who believes in the Jesus, because I'm just like you, John. I'm also a mythicist. I don't think that the man actually existed. Is the idea that they can't seem to get past the idea that if you're a follower of a man and you believe this man is actually the incarnation of your God and he's here talking to you, yet none of them can give him a physical description. Any of the relics he used, his sandals, his robe, his lock of hair, absolutely nothing, nothing at all throughout history. And that is just mind-blowing to me. If you're walking with the guy and you say, wow, this is Jesus Christ, they can't even give a birth date, a time of day. I would be recording everything if I truly believed this was God.
Well, and he had 12 guys following him constantly. You think one of them would have nicked the damn cup he used at the Last Supper? He basically announced that he was going to die.
My brother has my toenail clippings when I was a baby, for Christ's sake. I mean, this is disgusting. But, I mean...
You got something, right?
Well, they got the Shroud of Turin, but that was like found out to be a hoax, right?
Yeah.
Like right. Yeah, that's it's a 13th or 14th century like art piece. Is what it was, or rather, like the the stain on the shroud doesn't match like any kind of human anatomy that we could have with a shroud covering a bloody body and all this other stuff, and like the blood drippings on it go the wrong way, kind of thing. So I mean, there's a lot of things that indicate that it definitely wasn't like something that wrapped up an actual body.
So what is your favorite argument that somebody has brought up about the historicity?
It's kind of hard to really gauge favorite, because favorite could be like the strongest case they have, or favorite could be like the absolute worst case they have. And
let's go with
give
both.
us both.
Yeah. So my favorite absolute worst case is when they create imaginary sources and then proclaim them to be independent eyewitness accounts. And that's where that comes up is mainly with the Gospels, because it's claimed by people like Bart Ehrman and other biblical scholars that the Gospels actually have these independent eyewitness sources behind them that are reliable enough to where we know that Jesus actually existed, and it makes Jesus the most attested to historical figure of the first century or something like that. And the problem is, though, is that you can't just create imaginary sources as if they exist in some real way and proclaim them to be independent when we can't really analyze them to determine if they're independent. And we can't analyze them to determine if they're really eyewitness accounts. And so I think that's probably one of the absolute worst pieces of evidence like that I've heard them bring up. And then the best evidence that's my favorite are pretty much the vague passages in Paul, because there's two distinct sort of levels to the historicity claims. So you've got Paul, who is writing starting in about the 50s, and he has this one particular vision of Jesus, and he's got vague descriptions of Jesus that could be an indication that he really walked on the earth, but it seems to me like all the evidence surrounding them to explain that evidence points towards him only ever being celestial. And so that's why it's that's my favorite historicist arguments is that's actually good, because then you have the gospels that are later, and they're the ones that invent like the disciples and invents the Pilate or the Pilate story, and invents the birth narratives and everything like that. So you have Paul's celestial Jesus, and then you have the historicized version of Jesus that crops up with the Gospels. So I typically like to focus on Paul because I think that's the strongest argument they have.
That's it. That would explain why nobody could nick the cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. It's the kind of argument I hate to see, because they'll just hang on to something in the Bible that is mildly historical, and then they just put historicity throughout the entire book. Yeah. And I usually go with them and says, I have a comic book here of Muhammad Ali fighting Superman in a boxing match. Now, this is a real comic book. This is a real comic book that was actually printed. And now we know Muhammad Ali was a real boxer. Now, does that mean Superman's real too? Right. Exactly. But they don't seem to understand that in Christianity. Just because, the town of Nazareth exists, therefore Jesus must have.
Yeah. It's like Robin Hood,
Yeah, but New York City exists too, but that doesn't mean there's a Spider-Man within it.
Yes, there is.
Right.
John, I gotta ask, because I know for a while that you were getting quite famous on the way you were rebuking flat earthers. Okay, to me, my friend, you're a saint, because I've seen a lot of your videos about flat earthers, and I'm thinking, how do you do it, man? How do you do it? How do you manage it? How? Anyway, I'm not even sure I've got a question here.
Well, so I haven't really been doing a lot of flat Earth for about the past year or so, and that's primarily just because it all became like really repetitive, like even more so than religious arguments are, and it's quite clear that after the Behind the Curve documentary, that absolutely nothing at all was going to really chip away at any flat earthers like ideas surrounding the shape of the earth. And so the reason why that documentary was actually really important was because they actually had flat earthers debunk themselves when trying to determine the rotation of the earth. And it's just amazing. And then they ended the entire thing with Jeranism, who's a pretty big in the flat earth community, but they had Jeranism performing an experiment and debunking himself in the documentary. So I mean, it's just
but John, if I take a basketball and I pour water on it, the water doesn't stay on. So how does that work for the globe?
It would spin off. It just spins right off of it.
It's gone.
Yeah. Stupid.
I saw a guy one time to take a Nerf ball, and he dunked it in water, soaked it with water, and then he spun it real fast. And of course, at the centrifugal force, just the water was just flying off. Said, "Well, that doesn't rotate at 1,600 kilometers per hour like the Earth does. Explain that."
Gosh. So
You want
dumb.
the Earth was to spin that fast in space? Yes, the water would fly off too.
Like,
Oh God.
oh,
Anyway, John, what's next for the Godless Engineer? I mean, we love your videos. Obviously, we're fans, and we love where you're working all that. So, what's coming up next for you?
Well, I'm pretty much just grinding it out on YouTube. So I'm trying to get a bunch of scripts written so that I can record fresh, new content. I've got a video coming out this week, like I said, about the devil secrets, and then later on in the week, I've got a video where I respond to Tim Allen and Norm Macdonald when they were sort of discussing atheism. And so I've got that, and I don't really have like big plans for this year just yet. I know Richard Carrier might be coming through, so I might have some pretty good like in-person content to record with him. But other than that, I don't have like any big plans. I'm still working on a lot of updates for the Crestus app that I have in the app stores. That's my Mythicist informational app that I inherited, and I've tried to update the framework and get new updates merged into it and everything like that. So I'm constantly working to get that done. I mean, other than that, I'm just trying to figure out new video ideas to do, and try to figure out how to tackle the same topics in different ways. I'm thinking about bringing back my comment videos. I did one at the very end of last year, and so I haven't gotten comments together to do another video, but I usually like doing those videos, and people have a lot of fun reading through stupid comments. So I might try that a little bit. But other than all that, it's just consistently trying to find good videos to review and provide great information on. One video that I have planned coming up is actually it's going to be a series of videos refuting this one video by Genesis Apologetics, who's known for producing really poor like creationism videos. And I got a number of people that are going to be coming on to help me out with that, like Erica from Gutsit Gibbon, and Dan from Creation Myths. And so both of them are actually working in the evolutionary biology field. So they're going to be helping me out, and I've got a lot of Mythicist content that I want to do this year. So I'm going to be upping the content surrounding mythicism, and just kind of focusing on putting more educational stuff into my videos, as well as doing some entertainment stuff.
Thank you so much, John. The channel is The Godless Engineer. Look it up on YouTube. John, thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to have you on, my friend. Before I let you go, I gotta have you say though, hey there, heathen. This is God. This is John the Godless Engineer, and I took a left in the valley.
Okay. What's up, heathens? This is John the Godless Engineer, and I took a left at the valley.
Oh yeah.
And that was John the Godless Engineer, and I should really practice saying that more because I keep saying God the Johnless Engineer. Great guy. I love his content. He puts out a lot of quality content and a lot of interesting information out there.
So if you haven't seen him, go see him.
Yeah,
He's on YouTube.
Definitely more of that needed out there. And I love the way he likes to debunk things here and there. And you guys have any thought on John?
Nice guy.
Yeah, I always enjoy the videos. That's like one of the few YouTubers that comes on like just automatic. I guess because I've watched a bunch of them. So
yeah.
He's funny.
And yeah, I mean, I always love the energy he brings, and he's a very sympathetic guy, and I love his work. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So thank you so much for John, the Godless Engineer, for being a guest. And thank you to Hertzie, Bradley, Sabrina, and Benjamin for my co-hosts. And thank you for listening. You can follow us at leftandvalley.ca. You can send us an email at leftandvalley@outlook.com. You can go to Twitter at LATV Podcast. Go to YouTube or Facebook,
Instagram,
.com/Left of the Valley. What am I missing? Give us a 5-star review wherever you find us. It helps us and helps others find the show. And you can become a patron and help the show grow. Go to patreon.com/LATV. Brett Lee, what's coming up for Unapologetics?
Yeah, this Wednesday, Unapologetics panel stream. If you search it on YouTube, we hang out and just watch videos, usually just crazy right-wing videos that are
crazy music.
and crazy music videos. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I have to
Every
do
week.
a best of music videos soon.
Oh, God.
Excellent. Yeah,
I dread that.
should.
All right. Coming up next week we'll have Janice Selby, and we'll be talking about Court 2022 again. And a week after that, we'll have Ian Harris, funny guy. And coming in the beginning of March, we'll have David Fitzgerald will
You
return.
forgot about Nick Fish on.
Sorry, I always forget about Nick. I got to put
How
him down.
can you forget that about Nick? He is only the president of the American Atheists, one of the biggest knowledge people of Project Blitz. You are not going to forget Nick Fish.
Don't forget about Nick Fish again, okay?
I'm going to put it right there in my calendar.
Yes,
I'm gonna start spreading that hashtag.
Yes,
Yeah.
Don't forget about Nick.
In March, we'll
Nick
talk.
Fish.
David Fitzgerald will be talking about Mormonism, so that should be good. Benjamin, I want you to participate in that for sure. And we'll talk as well to Seth Andrews and maybe even Tom and Cecil for cognitive dissonance. We'll see what's going on there. So
Awesome.
excellent. Anything else I need to add?
Have a great week.
Perfect. Until next time,
yeah.
guys.
Later.
I call it how I see it. I say it's ignorance, and you just call it faith and unsubstantiated claims. That's something to be ashamed. I'm an atheist.